Hi, Mr. Snell. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, Mr. Uter.
Good.
Are you ready to go?
You bet.
Oh.
This should be a short meeting.
It should be. Yeah. Is Crystal good to go up there?
We're trying to get it worked out. Joe? Oh, she's there. She was here.
Yeah.
You may want to stop in to Dawn is working.
Oh,
Like he's asking.
did you give an affirmative?
No, he's asking to see the contracts, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's positive.
Yeah, that is very positive.
Yeah, but
I thought the way that we worded it in the offer kind of made the contract irrelevant. I did not like the way that it was worded because it made it no employee anytime anybody wants to just let it go.
oh, that's where you read that?
Yeah, that's why I was, as I read that, I thought, if I was on his side, I wouldn't have carried that. I think that the way we worded it, it basically voided the whole purpose of the contract. It did not provide the assurances that if I was the employee. That's why I have a 90-day clause, that's all. But then to make it available, so it just can be terminated at any point in time, unless it's for something for cause. I don't think we worded it properly.
Well,
I think the contract needs to be,
if you get time, go look at the material.
she wrote
Yeah,
that
she's
down.
gonna send it to you too, but if you're here, you can go in there and.
Yes, I will, because I did not like the way that she had worded that, but I think
Good morning, Tracy.
in the circumstance I would.
The agenda, consent agenda, I give you the claim sheet. I'm sure you sign it, give it to him, so you get it to Kim.
Yep, she needs it right away.
And I've already reviewed it. I went through and asked questions yesterday.
So, you're good with it, okay. Is Crystal on now then?
Is Crystal still on?
She is, but it's not, for whatever reason, hooking up to the ClickShare. Go get Joe again. I don't know why it's not. It's linked.
We're just waiting to get Crystal online.
She is online. I just don't know why it's not reflecting on your.
Crystal, can you hear us?
We can see her here.
So she's not plugged in your system? Not projecting?
When you're ready.
Or is that on?
It was.
Okay. Think it'd be okay for me just to get Crystal on the phone and then we can hear her and see her? Hey Siri, call Crystal McIntyre.
Calling Crystal McIntyre. Good morning.
Hi Crystal, it's Darren.
Hi.
Hey, we're just about ready to kick off our meeting. We do have you visually. We can see you. Michaela can see you on our screen, but we can't hear you. So we're going to go ahead and get started just with you on the speaker phone. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. I can't hear anything either. I didn't know what was going on.
Okay. I'm going to keep you right here with me, and then we'll get the meeting started. And if you have any problem hearing anything, or if you have a question, just stop us, and we'll get it figured out where you know what we're saying here. Okay?
Super, thank you.
Okay. So, good morning. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Warren County Board of Supervisors meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 4th. It's 9:35 a.m. in the boardroom. We're going to go ahead and convene our meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Are there any meeting deletions or corrections?
On the, I think it's on the consent agenda on Y. It has a work session that was never held.
Okay, on which one, Crystal?
It's Y on the consent agenda,
Okay.
February 21st, 2023.
Okay. Thank you for that. Is there anything else?
There it goes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve our consent agenda with the deletion of the Y item, the February 21st, 2023 work session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call?
McIntyre,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Snell,
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. Just give me a moment. Okay, the next item on our agenda is to consider the April 2023 Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation with possible action.
Hold on.
Sorry to interrupt. Did Supervisor Snell get his question answered about the invoices?
Yes, I did.
Okay, excellent.
That was relative to the consent agenda, Crystal?
Yes.
Okay. Is there someone here to speak on behalf of the Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation? I'll go ahead and read this proclamation. Okay, this is a Warren County Board of Supervisors proclamation dated April 4th, 2023. Whereas our children are our most valuable resources and will shape the future of Warren County, and whereas child trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone, and whereas child trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse, and whereas protective factors or conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children, and whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families, and whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that build strong children and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community in partnership to build awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in safe, stable, and nurturing environments. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Now therefore, I, Board of Supervisors, Darren Heater, do hereby proclaim April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month in Warren County and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. Don, do we need to make a motion on this proclamation? Okay.
I'll second that.
Did you make a motion?
I did not. I will make a motion to approve the Warren County Board of Supervisors proclamation dated April 4th, 2023.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
McIntyre,
Aye.
Snell,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye. Motion passes.
I do have a suggestion, though, where it says now therefore, I would put we, Warren County.
Yes, let's include that. That's a good way to put it.
Friendly amendment.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
There was an I there, and it kind of threw me off, because it's not an I thing, it's a we thing, so.
It's a wee thing.
It is a we thing, okay. So, do we need a new motion with that new language, or are we good to go, Dawn? I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the language that reads, "Now therefore we do hereby proclaim April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month." In my,
We Board of Supervisors,
we Board of Supervisors.
Warren County Board of Supervisors. Sorry.
Yeah. Now therefore, we, Warren County Board of Supervisors, do hereby proclaim April as National Child Prevention Month. That will be my motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
McIntyre?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye. That passes. Okay, the third item on our agenda is to consider the 7th Amendment to the DCAT Coordinator Contract with possible action.
I would move the amendment as it has to the contract for $12,000 to accept the monies transferred to us from Polk County.
I will second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I guess we don't need anything. Thank you for being here. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye. That motion passes. Item number 4 on our agenda is to consider the approval of ARPA funds for the communication system with possible action.
Good morning.
Good morning, Matt.
I would like to present to you our final quote that we have to upgrade our telephone system within Warren County. Currently, we are spending, to the best of my knowledge, roughly in the neighborhood of $103,000 a year on our phone service. Over a 5-year time frame, that's $514,000. We have managed to put together a quote for changing over to a Cisco phone system using a local provider for our SIP trunks and our DIDs, and we will drop that to $34,476 a year, therefore saving the county $341,403 are current spend rates over the next 5 years. That equates down to $68,261.
And we anticipate having better technology, a better vendor, increased services.
Better technology, increased services, far more flexibility and options than we have right now.
Excellent, okay. And the amount of the ARPA request is?
138,000.
You got that back here someplace? 138?
138,984.08.
I would move approval of spending $138,984.08 of ARPA money for the project to improve our communication systems here at Warren County, as presented to us.
Excellent, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Matt, for all your hard work on this.
Thank you, sir.
It's much appreciated. Item number 5 is to consider approval of ARPA payment for impact with possible action. And Megan is coming up to talk to us about this, so. Hi, Megan.
Hello, good morning. So this is something that you already approved the project. It's just due to the size of the actual payment, we're just getting your approval to make the actual payment. They've gotten all their paperwork and everything into us as we require, so it's just paying the $56,800.
I would move approval of ARPA payment for impact as outlined in the contract.
I will second it. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Can I ask a question, please?
Certainly.
Okay. On on the second to the last page of the contract, it has the date scratched out. So are we renewing this entire contract, or is this just for payment?
It's because,
Yeah, it's on that page 7, is what she's talking about, where they changed from 2022 to 2023. Because it's like, I think it's extending the payment.
This is when they originally got it back to us, so they're just wanting the payment that was approved a year ago, but since
Right.
they were delayed.
Why don't you use the microphone over here so people can hear you?
Right. I just want to make sure we're not renewing the contract and we're just making the payment. I just want a clarification.
Correct. This is what was originally approved about a year ago, but they never returned the original contract within last year's timeframe. So that's why when we received the contract back, it was this year. But it is the original contract that was approved.
Right. Okay, thank you.
That's a good question, Crystal. So we continue to be, the way this reads is, we continue to be under contract with Impact through the year 2023.
Yeah, yes. In fact, I did some correspondence back and forth with Ann Bacon yesterday to just verify, and also with Megan yesterday to verify that this was in fact part of the ARPA funds that were approved this past year, and I was reassured in both cases that it is.
Great.
This is not a new contract or new funding situation. It's kind of ironic that this came up yesterday because I actually had an orientation meeting with Ann Bacon where we met for about an hour yesterday, and this didn't happen to come up at the time because I didn't have this in front of me at that moment, but I corresponded back and forth with Ann later in the day, and also spoke with Megan to confirm that this, in fact, is something that has already been approved, and this is nothing new. It's just approving the payment that was already approved.
That's my understanding as well. So we're just looking to approve the ARPA payment today,
yep,
not committing to any additional contract
correct. Yep,
extension.
just the payment.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so we do have a motion. Is there any other, that's a good question, Crystal. Are there any other questions from the board, discussion on the ARPA payment for Impact? Okay, we do have a motion, and we do have a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye, motion passes. Thank you, Megan. Okay, the next item on our agenda is to set the public hearing date and time for the fiscal year 2024 budget hearing with possible action.
So we have the budget hearing, we've been planning on having it April 25th. It's just finalizing the date and the time and the location. So April 25th, I have it on the calendar as at 9:30. So if you want to move forward with that, and in the boardroom here.
Questions or discussions from the Board of Supervisors?
Nope.
No, I'm fine with that date and time.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to set a public hearing date for the fiscal year 2024 budget hearing to be April 25th, 2023 in the Administration Building at 9:30 a.m.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye, motion passes. Okay, next item on our agenda is to receive and file reports. We have Veterans Affairs listed. Nobody from Veterans Affairs here to read the report, but I've had a chance to look at it. I'll make a motion to receive and file the report from Veteran Affairs.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Snell?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye. Okay, excellent. That motion passes as well. We're on to Supervisors' report. I'll go ahead and report out that we've had several budget work sessions, couple special meetings. I've been in meetings with, the entire board has attended a EMS fire chiefs meeting this last week. I've also met with the sheriff regarding dispatch structure and efficiencies at dispatch. I've also sat in on a meeting with the Indianola mayor and Carlisle mayors to talk about different ways to structure funding of dispatch and where dispatch may sit within the county at some point down the road. This is all just a function of communicating and trying to understand the best way to place dispatch so that it serves Warren County residents in the best manner. There's also some potential litigation that I've been a part of the last couple of days that will soon to have a closed meeting of the Board of Supervisors to talk about that issue. And that is my report.
Okay, you want me to go next?
If you want to, you
Sure. It's been a busy week here. We get to that third and fourth week of the month, and I happen to serve on several boards on behalf of the board here. And so we had the HERDA, which is the Heart of Iowa Regional Transit Authority. They had a meeting this last week. We met to discuss a number of things related to transportation and services for this region that Warren County participates in. Also, I had a meeting with Ann Bacon, as I mentioned a moment ago, regarding IMPACT, which is basically our emergency relief or entity that works on our behalf with people with rent assistance and weatherization issues and energy payment for keeping utilities on. And so we went through a whole bunch of things with that this week as well. Also had a meeting with the Metropolitan Planning Organization regarding transportation planning and other things here in the metro area that we are a part of, and it was a very enlightening experience. Another meeting I had was with the CICS, Central Iowa Community Services, which basically is our behavioral services and mental health entity. That is going through quite a few changes. And in the next 6 months, I think we'll see a total restructuring of that board. Presently, the Board of Supervisors comprise the entire makeup of that board, except for, I think, 2 positions. The legislation that's going through the state legislative session right now would actually change that to where the Board of Supervisors would have no more than 49% membership of that board going forward. And part of the rationale, so people understand there, is that the state of Iowa took over the funding on that. It used to be funded out of property taxes here in the local area, and so all 99 counties were basically funding the mental health services, behavioral services through our property tax. That has now been shifted as of last year when the state of Iowa took over responsibility for those things. And the old saying goes, he who holds the gold makes the rules. And I think that's why we're seeing the board management change from total Board of Supervisors representation to now a minority position on those boards. We will have no more than 6 members out of our 15-county area, so there's actually a committee within the CICS board currently that is working to identify the process for how board members from the Board of Supervisors portion would actually be appointed into those roles. More than likely, they'd be terms and would be staggered such that eventually all of the counties would take a turn on that board. So that's why I say I think in the next 6 months we'll see a big change there and what's going to happen. Let's see here. As you also mentioned, we had board workshops this past week, and we've had other community meetings with emergency management folks. So that concludes my report.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Snow. Crystal, would you like to give a report this week, or you're traveling, maybe bypass?
Yeah, I'm going to wait until I'm there in person to give any report. It's really hard for me to hear, and
Okay.
I don't know how I'm coming across either, so I'll just wait. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. You're coming across loud and clear here. We can hear you fine. So we'll try to speak up so you can hear us, but, so that ends item number 8, the supervisor's report. The next item on the agenda is public input. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual. The board will not take any action on any of the comments due to the requirements of the open meeting law, but may do so in the future. No public input will be allowed for any of today's agenda items. Is there anybody from the public that would like to present something to the Board of Supervisors? Yes?
But you have to come up here to the front,
Oh,
please.
I have to.
Yeah.
I figured I'd start with a question. When was the county assessment approved? The Board of Supervisors has to approve the county assessor's input, correct? According to the law, the county supervisors, the Board of Supervisors approves the assessment within the county.
Well, we're part of a conference committee. It's actually a joint, the assessors actually, there are 3 entities that are involved in that process.
Okay.
We're only 1/3 of that process.
So when were they approved?
Last month, I can get you the exact date, but we sat on those committees with the school district and the cities, and
And so
approved
you
it.
were already aware during your budget discussions of the increases in the assessed value of homes, correct?
I don't think that we were ever given the it was,
You didn't take the time to look at the amount that things were going up?
we had a target range of what they were going to go up, but it really wasn't set at that time.
Okay. I feel a little bit deceived because our taxes are going to be increasing based on the 2023 assessment, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Mine are going up 35%.
Your valuation went up 35%.
And when you use the little guy that says estimate your taxes based on current tax rates, which haven't been increased yet because the rural levy hasn't been increased yet, correct? Based on current tax rates and that estimator, my taxes are going up 35%.
I'd like to look at it.
You'll have to look at it because yours.
What's the assessed value of your home? Do you mind saying
Rent?
that? Yes.
My current assessed value is, of the dwelling alone, is $309,000.
Okay.
Now, we haven't set the levy rate. I want to make that real clear.
I know that, yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
My concern is, and you need to be aware of this, everybody's taxes are going to go up. I also looked at the changes in land value assessments, and I did notice that for some reason, the city assessment land value isn't going up like the county, the rural areas are. And yes, you're right, I will be putting in oh, come on, you guys, this is crazy, conversation with the assessor's office. I got it yesterday, so I just quick did some.
I haven't gotten mine yet, so that's.
Oh, you're not going to like it.
Son got
Anyway,
his-
I just
my son
wanted
got
you
his
to be
yesterday.
aware of this, because if you're increasing the rural levy rate,
Yeah.
and our taxes are going to be going a lot higher, everybody's is, everybody who lives in the county is going to be going up, probably everybody in the state. But anyway, they're going to blame you overall because you increased the levy. You may want to postpone that levy rate increase until you start looking at that whole picture.
We are continuing, I mean, we're continuing to look at it.
I'm putting input in here because if you haven't gotten yours, I got mine yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of upset people. I got here today and I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to have a bunch. No, they're not, because they're not realizing that, yeah, you do have input in this. So you may want to, based on your budget, because we'll be paying those taxes based on the levy rate, and we'll be paying those taxes in 2024.
Yeah.
Right. So your 2024 budget, you're going to have more money for it because our valuations are going to go high. Our taxes are going to increase because of that. So you may want to be a little bit cautious and back that one up just a little bit to look at that whole picture.
We totally understand, and
Yeah.
you're exactly right on
Right.
how those variables come together to get to the output.
We're going to have a lot of really upset people, and if you're talking about increasing a levy at the same time they're increasing our valuation, no offense, but they're going to blame you.
Well, they blame us I mean.
I know that, but you can also, no offense again, make yourself look better by saying, we're going to postpone that because we are going to have increased income for that budget because of the increased valuation.
But there's also many other factors that the board is considering, just so you know. I mean, it's not
Understand that.
it's just not those two variables.
No.
You understand, like, I can assure you, we're taking a comprehensive analysis
Yeah,
of
but when
what's
I
going on.
asked you about that, the amount that the increases were going to be, you gave me the impression that you hadn't really looked at it.
No, that's not the case at all.
That's the
You
impression I
you
got.
said that we approved the exact valuation amount, and I would say, no, we didn't do that.
We wouldn't have the new
We
numbers.
wouldn't have those numbers at the time that we made the decision. Now, that's why we get till April 25th to make these final decisions.
Yeah.
And I can assure you that those new assessments will go into our formula for calculating the levy rate.
Yeah, they had better do so because you're going to have,
Well, we would be foolish not to do that. I mean, we're gathering information, and part of the reason why we wanted to set the levy rate high, the potential levy rate higher, is because we didn't know what the assessed values were going to be. We didn't know what was going to happen to local option sales tax. There's a lot of unknowns. There still continues, we're gathering the pieces now, and we're getting there.
when you were discussing the assessor's reports, I assume the assessor's reports is what you had the discussion of, right? Did they not let you realize that, I mean, my valuation for my dwelling went up $100,000 because it was over $300,000. I noticed that everything that was over $300,000 for a dwelling went up $100,000, at least out in the country it did. And the ones that were under $300,000 went up about $50,000 to $75,000, everything under a certain amount. So they may have used, I'm not sure what their calculation basis was. But there is a little difference between country and city, and yes, I will be discussing that with the assessor, and you obviously can't put your fingers on everything. But it's causing an enormous upset. I'm on a fixed income. Do you realize my taxes are going to take a quarter of my Social Security? My property taxes. And I'm not the only person that's going to have that concern. So, just letting you know.
I would concur with that. I concur
Yeah.
with that because
Yeah.
I did get some messages last night from others
you did.
who were like you. So I was aware of it, but I haven't seen my own, so I don't know.
If
And I
you
have
go
to
to
admit,
the,
we
if you-
haven't
if you go to
seen
the
all the
Beacon
information
website,
yet
yeah,
from the assessor.
Beacon by Schneider Corp, it's on there already. It's already documented and on there, so that's why I was under the assumption that it was approved already, because you usually don't post it publicly until it's approved.
What the process is, you've got the three entities, so
Mm-hmm.
school district, city, and county, that typically come together on that sort of thing. We basically approve the assessor's budget and their work, and that goes on. That doesn't mean that we've received all their work so we haven't all seen the work product yet.
And this doesn't necessarily, this isn't the assessor is doing something, to hurt people. It's not, they are required by law. They have pressure on both sides of this deal.
Every odd year, I understand that, yeah, I do my research before I come and complain.
Yeah.
And I try to complain in a pleasant voice.
But
Yeah, you're
I
doing
mean,
a nice way.
what it comes down to is market values are increasing, and it's the assessor's by code requirement
They're
to.
catching up in hindsight, though, because of the inflation that we have going on now.
Thank you.
People aren't going to be able to afford the market price.
Yeah.
That's already going down. Houses are already not selling. There's business decrease. And there's always that it's kind of like that slow catch-up thing. Just letting you know, there's caution and there's going, when you're doing with your budget, because that's what you have to deal with, and you're dealing with your levies, you need to be aware of that. There's going to be a backlash.
Do you have time after this meeting to sit down and talk about this
Always.
in a little more detail? Because
I just wanted to make the comments.
I'm just going to respectfully dispute that your taxes are going up 35% based on the new value. Like when you say that, I want to understand that better.
Okay.
You know, so.
I should have brought my printout.
No, we can pull it all.
Spreadsheets are wonderful.
We can pull everything up that we need, and we can work through it. And I want to understand this better, and I want to make sure that we have, that we sit down in a nice
So
way.
that you know what's coming for you, too.
Oh.
Anyway, thank you for the opportunity to share something. And we'll chat after the meeting's
Well,
done.
thank you for participating. Appreciate it.
Problem.
Okay. Are there any more public comments?
I do want to clarify something. The assessed values on what's coming out, what people are receiving now, those will not take effect until the budget for fiscal year 25.
Right.
But the levy's going to stay there.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily.
When have you dropped them?
We dropped it last year 22%
Because of?
because of local option sales tax revenue.
Right.
That's on the table now. It's a big variable we don't understand. But yes, we did. This board, well, the previous board reduced the rural levy rate 22% in the last fiscal year. Because that is a tough fund to understand exactly where revenues are going to be based on local option sales tax. But this board has always been conscientious around lowering taxes when it can and raising taxes when it needs to, and it hasn't raised taxes in a very, very long time. Although that's an unfair statement because of valuation. Your taxes do go up, but the levy rate can go down, valuations can go up, and the net effect is there's an increase in your property taxes. So to say that we've lowered taxes would be a misstatement, and I understand the difference. But Crystal, that's a great point that, what the assessor's doing is out there 2025. The budget we're working on right now is for fiscal year 2024, which is half of 2023 and half of 2024. So the budget that we're working on right now, we already know our revenue, with the exception of local option sales tax. Let's talk, please. Let's work together and learn together and get to the bottom of this. I don't think it's going to be a severe increase in the overall property taxes, but I'm open-minded and willing to learn and see what we can discuss. Okay? All right, our next meeting date is April 18th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. And that concludes our meeting for today. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre,
Aye.
Snell,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye.